Okay, board members, let's continue moving forward then. We're on agenda item 13. And we have 13.1, well, agenda item 13, 2026 general legislative session preparation. And you can see that there's two items under here. One is requests for statutory changes. Another is draft legislative funding requests for the 2026 general session. I don't know if we need to go through these. I think we made a shift. In the past, we would do these one at a time, but one would get dominated in time and then the other would kind of miss out. And so if you have something, I think, unless that throws you off, Scott, or at least too much, staff, unless it throws you off to bounce around between both agenda items, we'd like to just bring up, if you have a statutory change or a funding request, then now's the time to do that. Scott, please.
Well, and just to clarify, so or to add on, yes, perfect, Chair, thank you. So just to add on though, with 13.2, you'll see two business cases or requests for funding that staff put together at your direction last month. We're still working on other ones, so Finance Committee starts the process in May. They did one more, they did I think 4 recommendations to you, the board, to direct us to do it. So 2 are ready for review. You don't have to take any action on them or anything right now. That'll usually take place in your October meeting when you decide which, request to make to meet the Budgetary Procedures Act. So when we get into September, that 12.2 will build with those requests for funding at your direction. So next month, or at least by October, you can expect to see the pilot, the master, because you just ratified or, approved that today, so we'll get to work on that. But to your point, Chair, either one, 12.1 or 12.2, board members now, so we won't be doing anything more in Finance Committee, right? This is your opportunity, to your point, Chair, to make any recommendations to the board for any statutory changes that flow through Elise and her staff, and then requests for funding that flow through, well, her staff. We work together on it. So, yeah, perfect. Yeah, thanks, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got Vice Chair Wood and then Member Earl.
I move that the board direct staff to bring forward a list of potential legislative funding proposals for the board to review in September.
Okay, we have a motion that the board directs staff to bring forward a list of potential legislative funding proposals for the board to review in the September meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Member Earl, are you in the queue?
Do you want me to speak to that?
Oh, yeah, let's go back to you. Thank
Okay.
you. Sorry, I was just...
I know there are certain priorities that the staff has as they've gone out and done the work that they do that they know will need to be funded. And I'd like to see kind of a mini list of those before we start bringing in a bunch of our extra things to help us. This would just be a list, kind of a short-term list. And I don't want an expansive time spent on it. I don't want a whole business case, but I'd like to see a list and then we prioritize whether any of those are ones that we'd like to support. So that's what I'm asking.
Okay, so the motion before the board again is that the board directs staff to bring forward a list of potential legislative funding proposals for the board to review in the September meeting. Seeing no other comments. Oh, Member Lear.
I get you're asking for staff's suggestions, but would this be a good time for board members to also bring their own ideas, or does that come later? It just seems like if the two were combined, it would be a more holistic discussion than staff versus board members.
I think we at any time, even today, we could be bringing forward our own.
Okay.
So we absolutely have, we prioritize what our proposals are.
All right.
This was just kind of directing the board so they didn't feel like they were pushing something on them. It was me asking if this passes that, yeah, we're willing to listen to what you have to say too. But
That's helpful. I just hope that it is I would rather see all of them together. It's hard to prioritize some without knowing what others are in the wings.
Absolutely, and I don't think a motion is required from members, to bring forward their own, is there? because I can add that.
No,
but-
no, I just wanted to kind of maybe jog people thinking to say this might be a good time to present what I had in mind too.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne.
Okay. So again, the motion is that the board direct staff to bring forward a list of potential legislative funding proposals for the board to review in the September meeting. Let's vote. That passes 14 in favor, 1 opposed, coming from Member Bogus. Member Earl.
I would like, you ready? Where's Sam? I want us to look at the state guarantee for the voted and the board levy and put those back into order. Right now, what's happening is because of the increase in properties, those items naturally flow down. The voted and the board. And what's happening is, in order to keep that 20 increments, districts are being forced, or LEs are being forced, or feel like they're being forced into continuing to raise and raise and raise taxes in order to meet the 20 increment mark. Where property values are so high, it automatically forces the rate down. I think we need to look at where that needs to be. Is it 20 increments? Is it 15 increments? And I'm not even sure. But we need to put that back into balance with the property over the last 5 years and the guarantee being for years. What it's doing, and it's not really. I think it's not fair to our LEAs, because in order to get the state money, they have to meet the 20 increments. In order to get the 20 increments, they have to go back to their families and say, we want to increase our taxes. And I'm just running on now, but do you get the idea? That's kind of, I want to look at that. I'm not sure what the balance is, and see where if we can make a recommendation of that guarantee coming down to something that's more balanced, in order to not continually be forcing the taxes of people and have it back in order. That's my motion.
That was a long
Did you
motion.
write it down?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you repeat your motion? Okay.
Just
So
put
we have.
State guarantee.
Okay. Take a look at
slash-
this. Does this?
I can't see. Hold on. Yeah, to create a more, more balanced tax balance. What's that? Policy, yeah. And, yeah, specifically.
Let me get it, and then I'll give it back to you to speak to it.
This is enough. This is enough to start, because
Yeah.
aren't we just putting ideas out there, right? Okay.
Yeah. So the motion is to direct.
Idea motions.
The motion is to direct staff to look into the voted and the board levy law and propose potential changes that would create a more balanced tax policy.
Yes.
It's been seconded, I believe. Back to you to speak to it.
Do you want me to say more than I said?
I don't, but it's up to you.
I figured that's why I could see that. I think I'm good, because I'm not even sure yet. But just looking at it and doing the deep dive this week, because of our properties going so high, right, over the last 5 years, it's created this imbalance that's really put, I think, a compromising pressure on our districts, where they feel compelled to have to raise the taxes in order to get the money from the state. And it just is, it's not good. So that's all I'm saying.
I can put you in the queue. I've got Member Davis, Member Carey, Member Bogus, and then Vice Chair Wood.
Yeah, I support the motion. I think it'd be good to get some examples in here of kind of what that's looking like on the ground level right now. And I know may not be popular in certain policymaking circles, but exactly what Board Member Earl said. I mean, there's a lot of changes because we had such a rapid rise of home appraisals. But, the other issue is just forcing the function of you're gonna lose this if you don't raise that. and you've got income tax over here, but you've got people on fixed income over here, some elderly folks and other things. And so you're getting this bigger swing because it's sort of forcing the function of having these locals have to raise or lose here. So I support the motion.
Member Carey.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I support the motion as well. I attended last night's Truth in Taxation hearing for the Weber School District, and this was front and center, and it caused a tremendous amount of confusion because the charts and the diagrams and people trying to understand why do you have to raise this to save that, and it just engendered a certain amount of intentionality that wasn't there. Like we've intentionally made the process harder. And so I support this because I think it would simplify it, and I think that's necessary. But to the maker of the motion, and maybe I'm just not reading it correctly, but when I read it and it says to direct staff to look into the voted, like, the voted levy and the board levy law. Again, it was just unclear to me. So if clarification, if it's not needed, that's fine. But okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Member Bogus.
Thank you, sir. I too most definitely support this motion. My concern is that I would love for staff to bring back permutations of changes. If they have more than one idea, I'd like to see it. Does that need to be in the motion?
I think they will, if I'm reading this correctly, that's,
Yeah.
there's potential changes already in there, proposed potential changes, is that?
Well, it can be singular when it comes back to our desk. And I would like to look at a number of things that we can evaluate before we go to the legislature.
Let's just take that changes as literal. Scott, go ahead.
Can somebody tell me what permutations means? That's different scenarios, different funding scenarios?
Yes.
Or, yeah, okay, yes, we can do that. Variations, yeah, the VAR, okay, no, I'm good, sorry, thank you.
I have stumped Superintendent
You
Jones
did.
with permutations.
It's like too many syllables, so.
I have
Thank you.
achieved something today, Coach.
Did, no, I just want to make sure, so, yeah, the variable, that's what we use. Okay, I got you. Thank you.
I have a question for Deputy Superintendent Jones. I have a question for you. Is this related to the hold harmless that they also reduced from a 2-year to a
Yes.
6-year? Because before, as they upped it, they had a 6-year.
From a 6-year to, oh,
down.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes,
They went
ma'am.
from a
Okay.
6-year down to
Sorry.
a 2-year. So now we're going to see these property tax truth and taxation meetings more frequently because they're not held harmless for what they've raised in the past 6 years.
Conceivably, yes. Well, not
Okay.
conceivably, yes.
Yes, okay, thank
Straight
you.
up, yes.
Okay, so, Member Booth.
So this is really becoming a critical, I'm speaking in favor of the motion. This is becoming so critical because even back in the day when I was on a local school board, my neighbors, particularly those that I thought were older, and now I'm among them, were just deeply committed to public education, but they were poor. And not really, but they were becoming poorer because of the situation that was crowding in on them from what's happening in the economy and in the world we're living in. And living in little old Spanish Fork, Utah, those property taxes and those voted levies, everything, it was just more than they could handle. I mean, they were in tears because, they had no way to fix it because they were retired and living on that fixed income, but more and more was being squeezing blood out of a turnip. So somehow, if we can address this and we can communicate with those good people who want to be supportive of their children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, there's no way that they would not want to be supportive, but they've also got to live. And they've got to feel like somebody is listening to and recognizing the fact that, man, times are tough and they're getting tougher. So let's figure out if there are solutions. Let's do anything that we can do, let's not reduce what we've got to do for kids, but if there's anything that we can do, even if it's just communicating, finding ways to communicate how grateful we are for that sacrifice, and that's going to go over real well, I'm sure. But anyway, good luck to us. We've really got to give this.
Thank you. So the motion before the board then is that the board direct staff to look into the voted and the board local levy programs and propose potential changes that would create a more balanced tax policy. Let's vote. That passes unanimously. Seeing no other lights, we'll move on to the next agenda item. But board members, please, over the next month, start having conversations with constituents, with staff, with each other about what it is we want to advocate for up on the Hill. So, anything else to that, Elise or Scott, before we move on? That would help board members prepare. Elise and Scott are always, I'm going to volunteer you, always happy to answer my questions anyway. Hopefully they are yours as well. So they're a great resource, along with Superintendent Hart and all the superintendency. So, but Elise and Scott typically take point on these. So, okay.